Hi there, this is Ronnie coming at you with a video with just a couple of quick overview reviews. As usual, I don't have camera or anything for editing, so it's just me showing the box and giving you an idea of what I think of the game. And the first one is Tiny Epic Galaxies, which I don't know if I've actually spoken. There's a quick look at the back. This is a very small box, and there's a very big game in here. Essentially, it is a 2 to 5 player game of conquest. The dice have the 6-sided dice, and they all have symbols around them that allow you to move your ships from one galaxy to another, or back to your own galaxy, which is basically your own little home board. Each galaxy can either be conquered using diplomacy or money, currency, and there's ways to increase your energy. Energy can be used to re-roll any dice, and culture can be used to follow someone else's move. This is one of the interesting aspects of Tiny Epic Galaxies. Even when it's not your turn, if a player uses a die and you're like, oh, I wouldn't mind doing that myself, you can spend a culture, if you have it, to also do that dice's action as well. And I like that. It means that even when it's not your turn, you're still involved in the game. All the different galaxies have points values. The end game is triggered when someone gets to sort of 21 points. There are also secret missions where you're trying to have the person with the most culture, or person with the most ships on different galaxies, out not on your own galaxy, or all your ships back in your galaxy, and so on. I love this game. Absolutely adore it. It's a great wee game that I would recommend to anyone. Wonderfully quite tactical as well, and given that it's just cards and dice, there's a lot of replay value in it. I've played 4-player, 5-player. There's a lot of game in here, and I really enjoy it, and I would recommend it to anyone who likes a good sort of space game with a nice sci-fi theme that's competitive. There's a lot of luck involved, sort of, because of a dice. You can offset that with the fact that you can have one free reroll, and then after that you have to pay 1 energy to reroll any number of dice. It's not just a case of 1 energy for 1 die. You can reroll any of the dice you haven't used yet for 1 energy. There's also a converter. If you've got enough dice to do it, you can take 2 dice that you don't need and convert a 3rd die that you haven't used to whatever you want, as a kind of last ditch thing. Obviously you need at least 3 dice left, but it's a great wee game, and I would recommend it a lot. Now, in a previous video I said that I do not like deck builders, and that still holds true. I find deck builders, for the main part, to be very dry and uninvolving. I find them dull. However, this one and its cousin, which I will talk about in a second, this one is an exception. Star Realms. This is it's a two-player game from this box. If you want more than two players, all you have to do is either buy another box of Star Realms, or there is a standalone expansion called Colony Wars, which if you add it to this one, will give you a 2 to 4 player game. And I'm looking at Colony Wars as a possible buy for after Christmas. This is lovely. Like any deck builder, you start with a hand of 10 cards, or a deck of 10 cards. Vipers, which give you combat, and Scouts, which give you money, trade. And there is a central market of 5 things to buy. They're either ships, or they are bases. Bases come in two kinds. There are ones, they each have an amount to actually destroy them. There are some that come with sort of the number on a silver shield. Your opponent can ignore those and still hit you for damage. Then there are ones called outposts, which are on a black shield. You cannot harm your opponent until you've gotten rid of their outposts. So they're nice because, soak up that damage. You start with 50 authority, as it's called, which is 50 health. And essentially you're just trying to kick the other person down to 0. It's very combat oriented for people who like playing CCGs or LCGs. There's a lot of crossover. Cards, the ship cards will have a primary ability. The ships have 4 factions. The factions are coloured yellow and red, blue and green. And some of these cards will have a faction ability, which means if you play 2 cards at any time with the same faction, if either of them have faction abilities, then you trigger them on top of their primary ability. So yes, like any deck builder, you start with a hand of 5 cards. You've got your 10 cards, you'll shuffle them, you take a hand of 5, except for the first player's first round where they only pick 3. After that, second player's first turn is 5 cards, and first player and everyone after that is 5 cards each. And you play all your cards and then discard them. They will give you trade, so you can buy cards from this central market, or combat damage to attack the other person. Some ships or bases can give you health back, authority back again. It's a stunning wee game. I stand by my opinion about deck builders. I find them dry and uninvolving, but I think because Star Realms has there's a real sense and focus to it, where you know what you're doing. You know you're getting that card because you want to combo it up with another card so that you can really wreak havoc on your opponent. That I like. The other thing I like about this is that unlike LCGs and CCGs, there are very few expansions for this game. It's finite, and also because of the nature of it, it really doesn't matter what the other guy has. One of the things that I get annoyed at with LCGs and CCGs is, you see people with all these boxes of cards that they bought as they sit there for tournaments and they try and make their 60 or 80 card deck, whatever they're doing. With this one, both players have the same 10 cards to start with, and that central market is open to both of them. So it's much more focused. I think it's a lot fairer, and it's got a better idea of strategy about it, because it's not the person who's bought the most cards in advance of a game that's going to win. It's the person who is thinking slightly ahead about getting that card and putting them together and putting their deck together to win, and it's happening in front of the other of your opponent the whole time, and I like that. There is, however, an offshoot, which is Hero Realms. Now, this is basically Star Realms Fantasy. It's the exact same game. The only thing about this is 2 to 4 players, but it's the exact same game. Start with 10 cards, you know, all of that. Even the factions, although the factions have different names, there's still yellow, red, blue, and green, and they pretty much correspond with the ones in Star Realms. So if you're someone who's played Star Realms and you play a game of Hero Realms, you're going to feel comfortable in that game, and vice versa. And I like that. I like the fact that if you've played one, you can play the other quite happily. Yes, Christmas is round the corner. No, I'm not wearing my Santa hat for this review. But Christmas is around the corner, and quite frankly, if you know someone who's interested in sort of games, any of these 3 would be great little stocking fillers, great games, lots of replay value, a lot of fun, and well, I mean, Star Realms and Hero Realms is under £20, and Tiny Epic Galaxies is about 25, 26 thereabouts. Mid to high £20 rate. So they're fairly inexpensive as games go. And I would recommend a lot of them quite highly. I'm looking to maybe shield these as well, get protective shields, which, as I mentioned the other day, means that I will have to get a deck box. So yeah, I would recommend any of those 3 games for a good, fun game. Hero Realms, Star Realms can be done in sort of 15-20 minutes. Tiny Epic Galaxies, 30 to 60, depending on the players. All 3 of them, really good games, lots of fun, well worth tracking down and owning if you don't already have them. And yeah, I recommend them highly. So those are my opinions. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video.